Hello everyone, it's Helen from Journaling Planet, and in the next day of my 100-day project, I'm going to be upcycling this Coca Cola box into some Christmas journaling cards for my winter journal. I always associate Coca Cola with Christmas and often don't feel like Christmas is here until I see the holidays are coming advert. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know. Basically. The first thing that I had in mind for this piece, and each piece is going to be slightly different using different upcycled materials, was to get this piece of book page from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I found a really cheap copy in my local thrift store and just tear a piece off to go along the bottom. You don't have to have A Christmas Carol to hand to do this project. I mean, you can use any piece of book page. I just love that kind of symmetry. I love knowing that that is a piece from a Christmas story. I then want to decoupage this Christmas napkin, which I had left over from last year's Christmas card projects, over the top of this. So I'm going to get straight down to that, gluing down the piece of book page, layering this over the top. Let's speed this bit up. So I went very lightly over this with the mixture of glue and water because I didn't want to tear the napkin. And Santa's face at this point is actually really translucent. You can't see it that well, but I'm okay with that because it almost makes him like Ghost Santa, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to let it dry and then I'll probably spatter it a little bit with some paint. But for now, I'm just going to put this to one side to let it dry and get on with the next project. For this piece, I had in mind that I would use this old cutout from a Christmas card. I really liked him, but I didn't like this lettering that was going down here. So I decided that I would get another piece of book page, again from A Christmas Carol, and cover the lettering that was running down here. And then I ummed and ahed about what to put here because this character is obviously looking at something. So I did want to put something else. And then I remembered that I had cut this out of my Disney calendar. And essentially, if I layered them here like this, it sort of looks like the hare is waiting for his turn to be sung to by Snow White. But also, it might be that he's just kind of listening in. So there's a couple of different little stories that we can make here. I do lose quite a lot of this image, but it's just her foot, so it's not too bad. And a little bit of her cape. So I'm going to glue this down and see what it looks like once it's glued down. I'll speed this bit up. I could continue layering this up, but actually I don't want to in this instance. I want to keep the elements that I've selected in the limelight. This particular journaling card is 100% upcycled materials. You've got the upcycled box, an upcycled calendar, an upcycled Christmas card, and an upcycled piece of book page that was definitely going to be pulped at some point in the charity shop because it had gone down to a very, very low price and nobody was buying it. So I really, really like the fact that this is very eco-friendly, but there's also loads of space for me to write on the back here about what happens for me over the Christmas period. It is the first Christmas I'm spending without my husband, so I don't really know how it's going to hit, but I'm happy to have my journal with me to record all the feelings and the thoughts. So I'm enjoying that. I like how that's turned out. Let me go on to the next one. Again, you'll notice I'm using quite similar materials. Another piece of book page and another piece of old Christmas card. I'm actually going to extend this beyond the end of the piece of box so it sort of creates a different shaped ending. to the journaling card. And when I was putting this together, what was happening in my head was I thought the book page could sort of behave like snow. And then there's this house in the snow, and the Coca Cola lorry is kind of driving past delivering all the tasty drinks to those who are making merry. So I made a little story in my head. It makes sense to me. Every time I look at this journaling card, I'm going to think about it. So I'm going to just glue this down. You'll notice it's really simple. The process that I'm doing is just a bit of gluing, nothing really more dramatic than that. And I'm getting some really nice journaling cards out of it. Let me get this stuck down. And that is the finished result. Very simple, very straightforward. A cute little journaling card, and I've just taped over a bit of a rugged edge on the back here, just with some kind of starry night washi tape. And that is another one done. Very straightforward, just a bit of gluing. This last one probably took me the longest to decide because I had this lovely cutout from a vintage magazine, and I really loved the juxtaposition of the vintage against the kind of more modern Coca-Cola branding. But then she was looking off into this direction. I wanted her to look off into this direction because of the edge on this side. It presses neatly against that right-hand edge. If I put it there, it sort of feels a little bit like something is missing. I could have done some extension of the picture with my own artwork, but I decided no, I wanted her looking that direction. So then I decided that I needed something here. I watch a lot of Kelly from Book and Paper Arts, and she works a lot this way. I've definitely picked up a lot of skills from her in terms of how I build my collages. And so I wondered briefly about this little guy, because he's just so cute. But he's not really interacting with her at all. So I decided against that. He was for another day. I really wanted to use this woman. And if they had been facing the other way, like this, I may have had something, but that wasn't quite right. I then tried this, and it's just because really the dog's got rollers in his hair, and I think that's hysterical. But it doesn't go at all with what's going on. So finally, I found this image, which I cut from a book of biblical stories for children. And I decided that this worked, but I needed a background. First of all, I wanted to cover up the mini wording again. So I placed a piece of reclaimed music paper there and then placed them over the top. And then I wondered about this showing here, and that maybe I needed something in this corner to kind of complement the two. I tried joining them up, but I felt that was a little bit much. So in the end, I just had a little bit in this corner and the lady standing at the edge, and decided that's where I would glue them. And I really, really like the fact that she is standing against the backdrop of something that's a very capitalist logo. He is offering her all these riches, but she's not interested in those riches. She's looking off into the distance. There's something else that she wants or needs or is missing. So I just like the little story that I was able to build with this. And as I say, I've definitely been watching Kelly from Book and Paper Arts. If you like this style, she's got a ton of videos where she talks through all the different things that she tried and why she goes with the pieces she goes with in the end. I'm going to get this glued down so I can see the finished result. This is my finished piece, or certainly it's my finished piece before I put any final embellishments to it, and I really like the way that it works. I really like this story that's being conjured, and I just think it's really interesting that she stood in front of this Coca-Cola logo. Okay, let's go back to my Santa, see what else he needs, and then we'll look at all the cards I've created together and just talk through any last points. Okay, because the napkin went very transparent when I put the glue on it, I decided to get one of these Inktense pencils, which I got for my birthday, and get the black one and go around the outside of the Santa, kind of filling in the details that had been lost. Then added a little bit of water using my water brush, just went round what I'd drawn and filled in the gaps on the Santa just to make it a little bit clearer. I've rounded the corners, and as far as I'm concerned, that is a perfectly serviceable journaling card for my visual diary. If you'd like to see inside my visual diary, I did that in the last video, and the link will be in the description box. I didn't do anything else to this one. I kind of liked the clean lines of it. I didn't want to go in with ink and grunge it up or add in the Inktense pencil on this one. I just decided no, or just leave it as is. I just rounded the corners. That's the only thing that I did to this one. Whilst I was going around the Santa, I thought, well, why not just go around all the figures in the collage pieces with the black Inktense pencil, just to give them a little bit of pop, and that's worked out really nicely. Haven't needed to round the corners because they're already at a slant from the box itself. That's just the shape of the box. And lastly, I think this one might be my favourite just because of the kind of weird story it's telling. I did also go round with the Inktense pencil and a bit of water with this just to make the figure stand out a bit more. But other than that, these are all reclaimed materials. Actually, I think I did buy the napkin specially. But other than that, I bought those for my Christmas cards last year. Everything else is upcycled. Everything else is reclaimed materials. I do send out through Substack printables, prompts, and little creative pep talks. So do sign up to my mailing list if you're interested in any of those things. Link is in the description box. What do you think of this? I think it's going to make a lovely addition to my visual diary in the winter months. Have you ever tried upcycling a soda box like this with the branding showing? I'm just wondering about that because we often cover up branding and other things we don't like. So do you ever leave the branding showing in your crafts? That's the question I have for you. If you can leave a comment below, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go and add this to my pile of things that is ever growing to put into my visual diary for winter, and I will see you next time.